Well, you can say one thing. We always cast a wide net for news here at Washington Unplugged, and one thing that has gone somewhat unreported over the past weeks is the visit that the British Prime Minister Gordon Brown made to this country and to see Barack Obama. And here to talk about this with us is Christopher Hitchens, the writer for Vanity Fair magazine, also the author. Christopher, this got almost no play in the United States, but a lot of play in the British press. Some of the British worried that some way or the other that Obama snubbed the British Prime Minister. What's going on here?
The fact that it got no play here and a lot of play there is exactly the same as the old joke, which is also a truth. Only the British call it the special relationship. No Americans ever do. But the British feel it's special. So if there's ever anything unspecial about it, they get terribly upset. So Gordon Brown got a joint session of Congress to speak to. That's not bad for a Prime Minister. He got FaceTime with the President. That's not bad. He was the first guest. That's not bad. But they think that the President didn't give him a big enough present.
Well, he gave him what?
A pile of DVDs of American classics that probably was from the White House gift shop, I will admit, okay. And I'm as eager to assert Anglophone pride as anyone else, but it's not really enough to get people feeling that they've been dissed, I don't think.
One of the things I think that the British press at least seemed upset about was there was no news conference in the Rose Garden. As I recall, it was pretty cold that day, and they moved it into the Oval Office.
Yes, and I think one could say the President was pretty busy, too, and had been rather preoccupied during the course of that week. If there's a significance to this story, I would say it's this. There is evidence that Obama was very tired that week, and maybe a bit exhausted, and maybe a bit anxious. I mean, that may be of interest beyond the Brit audience. If we take it out of the Brit sphere, let's think, does it show that the President is under more stress than he's willing to reveal? Possibly it does. There's a minor thing too, a symbolic thing. The White House, the Oval Office, has given back the Churchill statue that Bush put, the Churchill bust, I should say. It was a gift from the embassy. People are reading too much significance into that, I believe. I think the President has the right to furnish his own Oval Office.
So you do not see this as something really serious, some kind of a breach between the United States and Great Britain?
No, I don't, but I think it's a sign of extreme self-love and self-pity in the British press, which is an old story.
An old story. So what else are you working on these days?
Well, if you read Vanity Fair, which I hope you do, I've been in Lebanon writing about the amazing resistance of Lebanese people to Syrian domination of their country. The various words, Arab Street, Hezbollah, so that we're used to hearing all the time, saying actually the Arab Street doesn't run one way. I've been trying to write about that.
You actually ran into
a
little trouble yourself there, didn't you?
I got roughed up on the Arab Street, yes, but I also got saved by some nice people on the Arab Street who stopped me being roughed up, so that's why I say the street isn't one way.
What do you think about what the administration, the overtures they've made so far? Hillary Clinton has been, of course, to Israel. How's that coming along? Not
very well, I don't believe. I don't think it has any better chance than Condoleezza Rice's view that, in a way, the problems of the region are to do with misunderstandings. If only people were nicer to each other or nicer about each other, things. These disagreements do not arise from misunderstandings. They arise from direct conflicts of interest.
So what can the United States do in a constructive way here as you see it right now?
That's a great question. That's a great question to end with.
People have been
we should have probably started with
30,
that,
50 years.
I think we have to decide what is the main problem. And in my opinion, the main problem is this. Will we let Iran become a nuclear power, or will we not? Will we say, all right, you won. You win, you won. Sorry, I split that difference. Or will we say, as we have said up till now, under no circumstances? Will that be allowed to happen because it's the end of international law, it's the end of UN resolutions, it's the end of every treaty we've ever signed? That decision will show us what we think about all the other ones.
Christopher, what do you think would happen if we looked the other way and Israel took care of this problem with a bomb?
The Israelis asked George Bush for permission to attack Iran during the transition period. We know this to be true, and they were told no. They must know by now they're not going to get a better offer from Obama.
Before you go, I want to ask you about the story you wrote about waterboarding, and you really went the extra mile for a reporter. You allowed yourself to be waterboarded by our people who teach the CIA how to survive this kind of treatment. What was that like?
By the way, you say we teach them to survive it. That had better be true. What we hope they're not doing is teaching them to inflict it. My discovery was this, I suppose, if I have only a word to put it in. You've read this, it simulates the feeling of drowning. It doesn't simulate the feeling of drowning. You are being drowned, except slowly. It's not a simulation. So, if you hope to win over anyone who's in your custody, if you hope to retrain them, make them think differently, which we have the hope of doing, don't do that to them. Don't be doing that.
You knew that at any point in this that you could call it off.
Yes.
And of course, somebody who's being waterboarded doesn't have that option.
Well, unless they say, I'll say whatever you like.
Yeah.
They can stop it then.
Yeah.
Which is, in a way, the point to begin with.
Did you kind of feel like you were going to die? I mean, it must be just a horrible thing to undergo.
If you feel you're being drowned or asphyxiated, your mind stops working altogether. You only have one instinctive reaction. But I'll do what it takes to stop this. It has to stop now. You can't put up with it. Mm-hmm. I was able to take it on one more try, because I thought I hadn't lasted long enough the first time. I felt a bit embarrassed. But the reaction is the same. The gag reflex is the same. You know, we have these things for a reason. They're to stop us from dying.
So there's no question in your mind that this is torture. When Vice President Cheney would say, we don't torture.
He must be meaning we don't waterboard. He better be meaning that.
Because if we do...
We are.
Christopher Hitchens, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.